Good day everyone, we are the Group 2 and today we are discussing the ethics for IT workers and IT users. Learning objectives. The learner should know what key characteristics distinguish a professional from other kinds of workers, and is an IT worker considered a professional? Number 2. What factors are transforming the professional services in the industry? Number 3. What relationship must an IT worker manage and what key ethical issues can arise in each? Number 4. How do codes of ethics, professional organization, certification, and licensing affect the ethical behavior of IT professionals? And number 5. What is meant by compliance and how does it help promote the right behaviors and discourage undesirable ones? IT professional. IT professional. A profession is a calling that requires specialized knowledge and often long and extensive academic preparation. Over the years, the United States government adopted labor laws and regulations that required more precise definition of what is meant by a professional employee. The United States Code of Federal Regulation defines a professional employee who is sila yung mga taong naka-engage sa performance sa mismong workplace. Are IT workers considered professionals? Many business workers such as marketing analysts and IT specialists, for example, yung mga software engineers, network administrator, sila yung mga nagpo-possess ng skills that could classify them as a professional. However, from a legal standpoint, IT workers are not considered professional because they lack state or federal licensing. This distinction is significant in legal contexts like malpractice lawsuits, where courts often rule that IT workers are not liable for malpractice due to not meeting the legal definition of professional. Professional relationship that must be managed. IT workers are involved in multiple professional relationships, including those with employers, mga clients, suppliers, and other professionals, and IT users and society. In each of these roles, ethical behavior is essential for maintaining honesty and worker appropriateness. For the professional codes of ethics. A professional code of ethics outlines the principles and core values essential to a particular occupation. Ginaguide yung mga behavior ng mga practitioners na nag-include yung mga aspiration for the organization and specific rules or mga principles na kailangan nila i-follow. And many codes also emphasize continuing education. For example, doctors adhere to versions of the Hippocratic Oath which has been influential for over 2,000 years. And the mga code na to is nakaka-help sila na i-ensure yung ethical conduct within professions like medicine and others where they are adopted by professional organizations.
Professional organization exists to advance or a particular profession, support the interests of a people working in that professions, and serve the public good. So, dito sa PowerPoint, nakikita natin kung ang mga under ng professional organization. Ayan, Association for Computing Machinery, Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineering Computer Society, Associations of Information Technology Professionals, Sysadmin Audit, Network Security, or Institute. The next one is certification. Certification indicates that a professional has a specific set of skills or knowledge as verified by the certified organization. Unlike licensing, which is legally required for certain professions, certification is generally voluntary and can apply to both individuals and product. For example, product certifications like Wi-Fi certified ensure interoperability. IT certification may include ethical requirements but are not standard like those in licensed profession. So under this certification, these are the types of certification like example, vendor certification, industry association, and certification. Government licensing. In the U.S., government license is permission issued by the government to engage in an activity or operate a business. Often administered at the state level, it typically requires passing a test and is mandatory for certain professional like CPAs, lawyer, doctors, and engineers. So, ito yung sinasabi nilang bar exam or board exam. State enact licensing law to ensure public safety. For example, Texas Engineering Registration Act mandates that only licensed engineer can perform public engineering services. So, sa Texas daw, yun nga, only engineering parang licensed engineer can perform engineering services under their supervision. Similar law exists in the most state to protect public safety and enforce professional standard. So lahat naman tayo alam na natin ang government licensing guide. IT professional malpractices. Negligence is defined as failing to act as a reasonable person would or doing something they wouldn't. Duty of care involves protecting others from unreasonable harm. Courts use the reasonable person standard to determine if someone owns a duty of care, adjusting this standard for professional based on their expertise. For example, in medical malpractice cases, specialists are held to a higher standard than general practitioners. Similarly, in IT negligence cases, experienced professionals like certified database administrators are held to higher standard than less experienced individuals without certification or knowledge. So sabi dito, kung ano yung duty mo, yun lang yung duty mo. Hindi ka pwedeng gumawa ng mga ibang trabaho na hindi naman na-assign sa'yo para maiwasan natin ang mga harmless or unreasonable harm. Ganon. Pag sabi nga dito, defined as failing to act as a reasonable person would or doing something they wouldn't. Yung ginawa nila na hindi naman nila gusto kasi inassign sila or pinagawa ng ibang tao sa kanila. Ganon. So, kailangan kung ano yung talagang nag-aralan mo or talagang ano yung inassign sa'yo, yun ang gagawin mo. Hindi ka pwedeng gumawa ng iba kasi parang makakasira lang yun sa ibang trabaho kasi hindi naman yun yung inassign sa'yo. Ganon.
Common ethical issues for IT users. Software piracy. Software piracy is a significant ethical issue for IT users, with widespread rates in countries like China and mobile platforms like Android. Companies should implement policies encouraging users to report piracy and discourage its practice. Which means software piracy is a major ethical issue for IT users. It involves illegally copying or distributing software without proper licenses. This can be harm companies by developers by reducing their revenue and discouraging from creating new software. In one common example is employees copying software for personal use without purchasing additional licenses. This is a violation of copyright laws and can lead to legal consequences. In countries like China, software piracy is rampant, with over 80% of software being used without licenses. This highlights the global impact of the ethical issues is mobile platforms like Android are also affected by piracy, with users downloading apps without paying. This hurts legitimate developers and discourages them from creating more apps. It is important for companies to implement policies that discourage software piracy and encourage employees to report any instances they encounter. Inappropriate use of computing resources. Employees misuse work computers by browsing non-work-related websites, participating in chat rooms, viewing explicit content, and playing games, reducing productivity and exposing companies to legal risks. Viewing pornography and work can lead to disciplinary action or termination, which means is common to ethical issue for IT users. This includes using work computers for personal activities like browsing non-work related websites, participating in chat rooms, viewing explicit content, and playing games. These activities can reduce productivity and expose companies to legal risks, such as harassment lawsuits. Viewing pornography at work is particularly problematic, as it can create a hostile work environment and expose networks to malware. Government agencies also warn against accessing such sites due to security threats like data theft and network breaches. Common ethical issues for IT users. Inappropriate sharing of information. Organization stores vast amount of private and confidential information. Private data includes employee data like salary, health records, and performance rating, as well as customer information, such as credit card numbers and addresses. Confidential information pertains to company operations including sales plans, manufacturing processes, and strategic plans. Sharing this information without authorization can violate privacy or expose company secrets to competitors. Or notable example is the WikiLeaks leak or State Department documents by low-level IT user in 2010, which is strained international relations due to sensitive disclosures. Inappropriate sharing of information is a serious ethical issue in IT works or users, or the organization store vast amounts of sensitive data including private employee informations like salaries and health records, and in confidential company secrets like sales, plans, and strategic plans. Sharing this information without authorization can violate privacy and expose company to significant risk. It can harm individuals by exposing personal details and damage companies by revealing competitive advantages to rivals. This WikiLeaks leaks is State Department documents in 2010 by a low-level IT users is a prime example of how unauthorized sharing can have serious consequences, straining international relations due to the sensitive nature of leaked information. Supporting ethical IT practices. This report summarizes key strategies for fostering ethical behavior among IT users. Effective strategies encompass clear guidelines, resource management, and robust data protection. Establishing guidelines for use of company software. Clear, concise policies regarding software uses are crucial. This should address software licensing, acceptable use of company software on personal devices, and consequences for violations like software privacy. Regular training and communication reinforce these guidelines. Number two, the defining appropriate use of IT resources. Companies must establish clear boundaries for accessible use of IT resources, including internet access, emails, and company computers. Policies should prohibit activities such as accessing inappropriate websites, engaging in non-work related activities during hours, and sharing confidential information. This should be consistently enforced. Number three, instructing information system to protect data information. Robust security measures are essential to protect sensitive data. This includes implementing strong access controls, data encryption, regular security audits, and employee training on data security best practices. A layered security approach in incorporating both ethical or technical and procedural safeguards is vital. Regular updates Regular updates to security software and protocol are also critical. By implementing these strategies, organizations can create a culture of ethical IT use, minimizing risk and protecting both the company and the employees.
Compliance. Compliance involves adhering to the establishment, policy, guidelines, certification, or legislation. Compliance means following rules like policy, guidelines, and law. It's like a set of instruction you have to follow to avoid problem. Example, software companies must follow specific standard to sell software to the government and must be agreed to the rules when you buy software. Compliance help keeps things legal, safe, and ethical. Quality and integrity of accounting and report practice is referred to make sure that the company's financial record, report, and accounting practice are accurate, honest, and truthworthy. Compliance with legal and regulatory requirements. This means ensuring the company follow the relevant laws, rules, and regulations in industry where it operates. Qualification, independence, and performance of the independent auditor. This is about evaluating the external auditor, a certificate public accountant or CPA, hired by the company to check its financial statement. The auditor must be qualified and based and independent for companies. Performance of the internal audit team. The internal audit team is responsible for checking the company's internal controls, risk management, and compliance with own policy. Their job is to make sure that the company's internal processes are working well and that there are no weaknesses or area determine that internal system and control are adequate and effective. The internal audit department check if the company's systems are controls such as process for hiding money, data, security, etc. are working well. They secure those systems can properly manage risks and prevent mistake or verify the existence of company asset and maintain proper safeguard over their protection. They make sure that the company's asset like cash, property, equipment actually exist and are being properly protected. This involves performing that those assets are safeguards from thief and damage. Measure the organization compliance with its own policy and procedures. The department checks if the company is following its own internal rules and procedures. This ensures that employees and departments are adhering to the company established guidance. Ensure that institutional policies and procedure, appropriate law, and good practice are followed. Internal auditors make sure that the company is following not only its internal rules but also internal laws. and industry best practice. This help the company avoid legal issue and stay competitive in the market. Evaluate the adequacy and reliability of information available for management decision making. They assess whether the data and information used by the company's management are accurate, complete, and reliable.